Hey guys, I'm Nisha Homi. Today I'm sharing Lacto Fermented raw papaya. So let's get started with the recipe. To make Lacto Fermented raw papaya, I have about 3/4 of raw papaya. So this green papaya is organic and it is from my backyard. Whenever I get some extra green papaya, I often Lacto ferment it so that it can be preserved. So first I'm going to peel the skin of the green papaya and then slice into long strips. I have sliced the papaya into thin strips like this. I have also removed the seeds of the papaya along with the skin. Raw papaya contains an enzyme called papain which aids in digestion. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. Because of the enzyme papain in raw papaya, it helps in digestive health. I have already shared a couple of videos on how to lacto ferment vegetables like sauerkraut and lacto fermented chilies. Please do check them out to know more about lacto fermentation. Next, I'm grating the raw papaya slices. One of my favorite ways to preserve food, especially organic food, is by lacto fermenting it. Lacto fermentation, also known as lactic acid fermentation, helps to preserve food for a longer period. Fermentation involves submerging vegetables in a brine solution or salt water, which is what I did to ferment my lacto fermented chilies, or by salting the vegetables enough to release their own water and create their own brine, which is how I made sauerkraut and which is how I'm going to make this recipe as well. When done correctly, fermentation kills or suppresses the bad bacteria while giving the good bacteria, which is the lactobacillus, a chance to thrive. The process transforms the vegetables into a healthy probiotic rich food. Fermentation is an anaerobic process, meaning it occurs in the absence of oxygen. When you ferment vegetables, you get a good gut healthy probiotic, which if included in your diet will help to maintain good gut health. You can maintain good gut health by including fermented foods in your diet. Please do check my previous recipes where I am using lacto fermented ingredients to make it more probiotic rich. Okay, now I have grated all the green papaya. I have already shared many recipes using green papaya. Links will be updated in the description box below this video. Next, I am going to weigh the grated papaya and I am adding the grated papaya into a bowl. The green papaya weighs 380 grams and I'm going to take 3% of salt of this weight, that is 3% of 380 grams. 3% of 380 will be around 11.4 grams. Adding in 11.4 grams of pink Himalayan salt. Now it's very important that you use pink Himalayan salt for fermentation. Salt which contains iodine may not be ideal for fermentation as it may inhibit fermentation. And with my hand I'm mixing the salt into the grated papaya. And as I'm mixing it, I'm squeezing the papaya to help release the moisture or water in the raw papaya. This is the same method as I made sauerkraut. You can check my sauerkraut video to understand more. So as the salt is getting into the grated papaya, the moisture will be released out. The salt actually brings out the moisture in the green papaya. And once it is nicely mixed, you can just take a small portion and squeeze it tightly and you will notice water releasing out. Once everything is nicely mixed, I'm going to transfer it into a clean glass jar. This jar has been thoroughly cleaned and sun-dried. Always use a clean sun-dried glass jar for fermentation. Transfer the green papaya into the clean jar. A word about using your hand in fermentation. You need to make sure that your hands are thoroughly cleaned and dry. Press it down really well. I'm using a muddler. You can also use the back of a wooden spoon. This is to help press it down so that the moisture which has been released is on top. Now to keep everything submerged in the water, you need to place some heavy weight on top, like a stone, a flat stone. You can use a flat stone to make everything submerged in water, or you can use something like this. This is known as fermentation weights. Today I'm using fermentation weights to keep everything submerged in the water. If you don't have fermentation weights, you can use clean sun-dried flat stone like this. For my lacto fermented chilies, I used this stone. So today I'm introducing you to this weight, which is known as fermentation weights. Once you place it on top, the weight will help the ingredients to submerge. As you can see, everything is now submerged. The weight of this will help all the ingredients to get submerged in the water or moisture which has been released out. This way you can make sure that there are no floaters on top. If there are any floaters on top, there is a chance to get mold or fungus. So with this thing you can make sure that everything is submerged in water. Now cover it with the lid, and I'm going to keep it at room temperature on the kitchen counter away from the sunlight for 3 to 5 days. For me, since I live in Kerala, which is a tropical place, ideally 3 days is perfect for fermentation. But in colder places, you may need to keep for up to 5 or even up to 7 days. Fermentation always depends upon the climate of the place you live in. Also note that after about 2 to 3 days, the fermented ingredient will have a sour, tangy taste or flavor. It sort of has an umami flavor, to put it precisely. So some people like a little sour taste, some people like less sour taste. For me, after 3 days, I get the perfect sour taste. So I personally prefer to ferment at room temperature for 3 days. If you would like more sourness in your fermented products, you can keep it up to 5 or 6 or even up to 7 days. I'm going to allow it to rest at room temperature for 3 days. After 3 days, I'll show you how it looks. Now, lacto fermented ingredients can be used in salads, on top of sandwiches. You can even have a teaspoon of this along with your meals so that you get some healthy, gut-friendly, natural probiotics. I like to label and keep so that I can be sure when I made it. I'm going to allow it to rest for 3 days. Now a couple of questions with regard to adding vinegar. For lacto fermentation, you don't need to add any vinegar. The brine or the salt water which is on top will have a vinegar like taste, a sour and tangy taste after the fermentation process is done. So in this tropical climate, for me, that taste happens by the 3rd day. If you're living in a cold place, you may need 5 to 7 days for that vinegar-like taste in the brine to happen. Always taste test and check for your preferred taste, and once it comes to your preferred sourness, you can stop it fermenting at room temperature and shift to the refrigerator. Once it stays in the refrigerator, everything will go into slumber mode, and hence it will keep for up to a year in the refrigerator. Now this is a very small batch. If you are making a large batch, you can safely keep it in the refrigerator where it will stay good for many months or even up to a year. Always make sure that you use dry spoons when you remove the ingredients from the jar. Fermentation is a big wide world, so only through experience you can learn more about it. So start slowly, start with the sauerkraut, and once you get a hang of fermentation, it will be really easy to ferment. It's on the 3rd day now, that is 3 days after I fermented the green papaya. So I'm opening the lid. See the bubbles which has come on top. This shows that fermentation is happening. I'm removing the fermentation weight. Notice a lot of moisture has released out, and like I mentioned earlier, you just need to take a little brine and taste test to see whether it is sour and tangy to your preferred taste. Give it a good mix. The brine will have a slight vinegar-like sour taste. So it's the 3rd day, and for me this is the perfect time to shift to the refrigerator where it will stay good for many months. Remember that if you want to retain the probiotic benefit of this fermented green papaya, then ideally it should not be heated. If you have it raw along with your meals or in salads and chutneys, then you will get its full benefit. However, if you heat this then that added probiotic benefit will not be available. So guys, do try this fermented green papaya and let me know in the comments how it turned out. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.